Hi guys, Rachel Ryan here. I'm not really good at doing standing still video, so just bear with me. And the reason you're going to want to bear with me, especially if you are new to networking or you're trying to get back into networking and you have, maybe you're looking for some good advice, I think I've got some advice for you up my sleeve, which is a bad joke. Anyway, so, networking. And the reason why you're watching this video is probably because you're trying to figure out your why. Like, what are you doing for work? What do you want to be doing for work? Who are you surrounding yourself by? Do you have 5 people that are kind of always on your docket that you're paying attention to? Are these 5 people that have newsletters that you subscribe to, that you receive in your email? And it's the first thing that when you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing that you think about. It's your go-to. And you are subscribed to them because you basically have the same common, the conversation is, it would flow very well. It would be a two-way conversation if you were to actually sit down and talk to this person. And if that's the case, that means that you are interested in what you're doing, and B, you're interested in what other people are doing that are also in the industry that you want to go into. So from that standpoint, you've kind of figured out your why, and if you don't have that figured out, I'd highly suggest you get that figured out. And your second piece is making sure that you've got those 5 people that you're trying to communicate with, and by trying, I mean that if they don't know who you are, but you want them to know who you are, and there's a reason for that, reach out to them. Just have it be a two-way conversation. Connect with them in whatever ways that make sense to you. It could be email, it could be LinkedIn, it could be on Twitter, it could be on Snapchat, whatever those ways are. Another piece of advice I have for you is create a worksheet of the things that you're doing on a daily basis to help yourself get to where you want to be. What I mean by that is I have in Excel, I have a document, and in that document are the things that I'm working on, my wins, the things that I have accomplished for the week, and then the things that are roadblocks. And those roadblocks could be anything. And I use that to document on a weekly, sometimes bi-weekly / monthly basis. The reason I do that is because it helps me understand what I'm doing to help myself get to where I want to be. And another thing that helps me do is when I'm sitting down and having a conversation with someone, I'm able to say, yeah, so these are the things that I've been working on, these are the people that I'm communicating with, and the conversation flows a bit more freely, and it's not as, you don't feel as forced, and you don't feel like you have to all of a sudden think about all the things that you've been doing in the last, who knows, whether it's been a month or whether it's been 6 months. You're able to visually go back and look at that document, and you're able to see who it is you've been communicating with, what you've been doing, and how you've been helping yourself. Also, how you can provide and be an asset for the people that are in your circle, those 5 people. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe you have 15 people that you've connected with and that you stay connected with on a daily, not even daily basis, but you stay connected with often enough to the point where when they think about something and you happen to be that person that has that information that they need, that you're an expert on, you're the first person that they'll basically going to call you, or they're going to email you, or they'll text you, or whatever form that they use, and they're going to say, hey, thought of you, here's what it is, here's what the need is, what do you say, can you help us out? So just make sure that the conversation is flowing freely from that standpoint, and that it can be a two-way conversation, because if it's not, and you haven't done your research, and you haven't reached out to people, then you're kind of in a tough spot. So think about that if you haven't done that already. Another thing is that when you go to networking events, if you're new to networking events, you don't really know how to put yourself out there. What I would personally do is I would research the people that are going, and here's the reason why. If the people that are going there are in the industry that you want to be in, you're using your time wisely, and you're going to use their time wisely because you're going to do your research on them, and you're going to go up to them, and you're going to introduce yourself to them, and you're going to give your 5-minute elevator speech, or your 5-second elevator speech. And you're just going to tell them, hey, my name is Rachel Ryan, I'm a content creator, here's what that means, and I understand that you work at, you do this for work, and I kind of read up on you a little bit, and basically you're tooting their own horn, and that's a really good feeling. So just make sure that you are doing your research, that you know who you're talking to and you know why you're talking to them. If you are able to go to bigger conferences that cost you a pretty penny, say they cost you $1,000 or $1,500, that's a lot of money to some people. Do your research on the people that are going to be speaking at those events that best align with the vision of what you see yourself doing in the industry that you see yourself going into. Do your research on those people, and when you go up to them, if you have an opportunity to talk to them, you already, you've taken the time to figure out who they are as a person and why they're doing what they do. And then maybe you're able to say, hey, these are the things that I've done, and here's what I know you've done, and I would love to collaborate with you in the future. And another thing is that when you go to those networking events, one thing that I would highly suggest you do, and I actually started doing this recently, like literally within the past month recently, is I put thank you cards in my bag, and I put stamps in my bag. Because when you have a conversation with someone, a written hand note is, gosh, it feels so good. I don't get written hand notes very often because I don't have a reason to get them, but when I do, it's just like, wow, it's such a good feeling. And if you can, if you can do that favor for yourself, and you can make them feel like they really made an impact, a powerful impact, then you're gonna stand out, and they're gonna remember you, and you're gonna be on their radar, and that's a good thing. A couple things to keep in mind: relationships, respect, and retention. If those 3 R's don't line up, and it doesn't feel authentic, that's gonna be it's gonna show eventually in time. So just make sure that you are being authentic and real, and you're doing your research. Because if you care, it's going to come through. What else did I have in the presentation that I was literally reading off of, and because I've almost pretty much memorized it. I would say I've got it memorized about 85% here. Okay, another thing is, so time. Time is super valuable, it's super important. And think about how you're spending your time when you're doing things that you know that aren't really helping you get to where you want to be. Why are you spending your time doing what it is you're doing? Be aware of that. Write that down in your document. I know this seems like a lot to track, but once you start tracking it, it's going to feel like it's just going to be a natural progression for you over time. It's like working out. Who the heck wants to get out of bed in the morning and go work out? Who the heck really wants to work out after work? I definitely do not want to work out after work, and I definitely don't want to. Sometimes I have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning and getting my workout in, but regardless, it's a whole other topic. But it's the same exact concept. Time. How are you using your time to help yourself? If you're not using it wisely and you're not aware of how you're spending it, it's probably a good idea to start reflecting on those things. One thing that I like to do is I'm typically up by about 4:45 in the morning. I'm not even kidding you. And one thing that I do is I write and I reflect. I think about, okay, what did I do yesterday that's going to help me get to where I want to be today? I don't do that every single day because it's just, my goodness, we're human beings and we deserve to give ourselves a little bit of slack. But think about these things. Think about that bigger picture. So yeah, time, driving the conversation versus being on autopilot. For example, what I mean by autopilot is if you walk into a networking event and you don't have an elevator speech, ready to go, you don't know who's there, you're on autopilot and you're wasting your time, you're not being effective, and you're gonna feel down and you're like, oh, why did I even go to this thing? Why did I even show up? Thank you cards, and what else? So there's this concept called, I'm going to put them in 2 buckets. I'm going to call it the social media bucket, and I'm going to call it the 10,000 hours bucket. Why these 2 buckets are so important is because, and my cell phone is inside, so I can't do the math, so I'm going to do this from memory. So 10,000 hours, what does that come out to in years? So you typically work 40 hours a week, times 40 by 4, it's going to come out to 160. And then times 160 by 12, and that's going to come out to 920 hours, I think, or 960. Times that number by 5, because 1,960 hours, or 9,120 hours, that's what's the amount of hours you've worked in a year? Well, we're not going to count PTO, we're not going to count sick pay, we're not going to count any of that other stuff. We're just going to focus on the 40 hours times 52 basically. So it comes out to that number. Well, again, times that 1,920 by 5, and that comes out to 10,000 hours. If you are spending your time wisely, and you're engaging with the people in your circle that you know you need to be engaging with, the next 5 years of your life, they're just going to kind of fall into place. And you're going to become more of an expert in that thing that you want to become an expert in. If you notice that a year into what it is you're doing, or 2 years into what it is you're doing, you notice that you're losing your desire to get up and go to work, and you're losing that feeling of, man, I'm so excited to do this today. I can't believe I get to do this for work. How cool is this? If you're losing that, that's a sign. And go back to your drawing board and figure out what it is that you want to do so that you can spend your time wisely. These are the things that I've learned over the years in the workforce, and I just wanted to present you with that information because I think it's super important. I think it's really, really valuable. And I'm doing it in my workout clothes basically, or this workout top, because I wanted this to just feel not salesy, and I didn't want it to feel pushed either. And it's gorgeous outside, and it's so nice out. So I just, again, this is me, and I'm so glad that you're watching. I hope this information has helped you out. Again, my name is Rachel Ryan. I consider myself to be a concept creator. I work in marketing and communications. I want to go more into video, so I'm paying attention to those people, and I'm surrounding myself around those people. I'm doing what I can to help myself, and I hope that I'm able to provide you with some type of information. All right, I'm going to repeat myself 4 times in a row here if I don't stop. So I wish you a good day, good night, whatever time of the day it is, and thank you for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can also follow me on Twitter if you would like. Hashtag. My avatar, or my username is Rachel Ryan, and then there's an underscore at the end. Thanks again, guys.